Hello and welcome back to Rue's Life. So I'm just in the shed at the moment. It is just coming up for 10:30. It's fairly warm. I haven't actually looked at the thermometers yet, but it's overcast and I think we're due for some rain. So today I'm just going to have a little potter. I've got a few little jobs I want to be getting on with. I've just picked a couple of strawberries. So what I'm doing is I'm just picking a few at a time when I see them, so the slugs don't beat me to it. So it's lovely to get a big harvest in, isn't it? But I'm literally just picking and enjoying them. Just two today, but other days, I've had a little handful. So that's really nice to just add them to breakfast or just have them as a little snack. I'm still battling with the pests, particularly the slugs. The nematodes that I'd ordered back in to come in June, which were then put on a back order, and I was told they wouldn't arrive till July. And now I've been informed that they're not going to come till August. So I've got a bit of a plan going forwards, because I've pretty much lost all the squash now. There were two hanging on, the Yukiki Kiri, and there was one left which I thought was going to do. It looked established enough, but that's looking pretty decimated now as well. So the plan is I've got some squash that I've sown. They're ready to be potted on, and I'm going to really try and get those, into big enough pots, get them really established as quite decent sized plants, and I'm not going to put them out until I've got those nematodes. If I never get the nematodes, well, I'm going to have to rethink the situation, but that's my positive plan going forward at the moment. Some of the beans seem to be surviving outside, although I lost the vast majority of them to the slugs. Um, so again, I've got some beans which are looking great, and the plan is again to get those really established before I get them out, and again hopefully by the time I'm putting them out I'll have those nematodes. So I've got a few little jobs I want to be catching up with. I was hoping to get my onions and shallots harvested, but we've had rain for the last few days, so I'd rather wait till it's drier before I get those harvested, just so that they will cure and store better. I don't like harvesting the onions when it's wet. So I'm not going to jabber on forever. I'm just going to finish my cup of coffee and then I'll take you with me. I'm going to work in the polytunnel today because, as I say, I think we're going to get some rain. So having not looked at the temperature earlier, it's actually 28.5 degrees in here and 22.5 degrees outside. So I haven't put the fan on in here, but I have opened both the doors, so I've got a nice breeze coming through. So it's a nice environment to work in and not too hot. I've now potted on, as you can see, the squash. On the left here, we've got the crown prince. In the middle, scallop yellow bush, and to the right are butternut. And I did sow 4 of each seed, but as you can see, I've had 100% germination on the crown prince and the butternut. Only 3 of the 4 of the scallop yellow bush germinated, and the yukiki kiri actually didn't germinate at all. So I'm pleased with the way these ones are coming along, and I've just popped some more yukiki kiri into the pots of the ones that didn't germinate. And then just to the left of those, I'll just move the camera, you can see I've got my beans. Now I would like to have potted those on today as well, but I actually have run out of larger pots. But they're looking really healthy, so I'm really pleased with how they're coming along. I'll just get one of them to show you. So you can see, you know, they're really establishing themselves as good plants, but I want them more established than that before I get them out, and I want them to be almost starting to climb. I'm finding that the ones that have managed to start climbing, even though these lower leaves have been chomped on by the slugs, because they've started to climb and put those other little leaves out, they are surviving. So that's the plan with the beans. And then to the left of the beans, my incredibly late, I've got 2 of these cucumber plants because of course my first batch just died, and I was doing an experiment which I talked about in one of my previous videos, and I'll just move the camera. So this tomato plant here was my experiment, you may have seen in a previous video, but for those of you that haven't watched it, I had my cucumber in this tub, and for no particular reason they were just really slow. They just stayed small and didn't seem to be growing, and then they just died. So hang on, I think there's a big tractor about to come past. So apologies, there is a tractor, but it's working in one of the neighbouring fields, so it's going to keep whizzing around. I did pop out with the camera to film it for you because there's a few of the more vintage tractors that do come past sometimes, but I can see he's actually working in one of the fields. So of course as he gets to the far end of the field it's going to quieten off, and as he gets closer to us we're going to hear it. So if you can hear that background noise, then I do apologise. So back to the cucumber tomato story. So I was a little concerned that there was a possibility that the compost that I'd used may have been contaminated because it was cheap stuff that I'd bought in Aldi. I didn't want to waste the compost if it wasn't contaminated and if the cucumbers had just failed for another reason. So I mixed in some of the other compost that I had and also gave it a good feed with some seaweed, gave it a little bit of time, and then I popped this tomato in, which was teeny tiny, and the deal was if the tomato was still alive by the time the cucumber established enough to plant, I could safely assume that it wasn't contamination. So unfortunately, although this tomato is looking quite good, it was just a spare. So that's coming out and onto the compost. It was my sacrificial experimental tomato. I don't even know which variety it is, and the cucumbers can now go in. you've enjoyed pottering about in the polytunnel with me today. I'm going to do a few other bits and pieces, but I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing and hit that bell so you'll get notifications of all my latest videos. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon.